Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Christine. I'm going to do my weekly wrap-up and happy Spookathon. So I finished 3 books this week. In fact, I just finished one 2 minutes ago. The first one was Anne Gracie's The Summer Bride, and it's book 4 in the Chance Sisters romance. I've talked about this endlessly, but this is the end of the series. And I loved it. Damaris, I keep wanting to say Damaris. Daisy and Flynn. They're both stubborn, pig-headed, flamboyant. Well, she's not so flamboyant, but um, they're both set in their ways and want their own things and don't care about how they get, well, who likes it or not. So yeah, it's quite comical. She's a budding seamstress who wants to have her own shop, and this is the 1800s, so she's afraid that marrying somebody, he will take it and call it his own and do what he wants with it. So she doesn't want to get married, doesn't want to have kids. It's funny. It's really funny. So I gave that a 4. Actually, I gave all 3 of these 4s. So then I read Killer Chef by James Patterson and Jeffrey J. Keyes, and it's the book shots. This is about a homicide cop who co-owns a food truck in New Orleans with his ex-wife, Marlene, and a couple gets murdered in his ex-girlfriend's restaurant. So he has to try and solve it, and then other murders keep happening. These pack a lot of punch in these little shorts. So yeah, I liked it. And then, of course, I read another one just because I needed filler books before Spookathon started, but I didn't want to pick up a full-size novel because, yeah, time. So I picked up Taking the Titanic by James Patterson and Scott Slavin. And this is about a man and a woman who steal and gamble their way onto the Titanic and pretend that they are married to get to America. Other things are happening, but they are stealing from the rich folk. They are in first class, but they are stealing from the rich folk. And yeah, it kind of delves deeper into the darker side of Ireland and stuff like that. But I was on the edge of my seat for the majority of this one because you never really know what's going on or why they're doing this until almost the end, and then it is, what's happening, and by the end of the book, it's right up until the end of the last page that you're like, and you don't want to like them because they are not nice people, but there are really nasty people on this boat, so you kind of root for them. So that's what I finished this week. So on to the books for Spookathon. So the thriller is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I'll probably start this today. And as well as this one, purple on the cover is Toil and Trouble, 15 Tales of Women and Witchcraft, edited by Jessica Spotswood and Tess Sharp. I'm going to probably mark it off or tab it off so that I can read, well, at least 2 a day. 3 one day, probably today, and then 2 the rest of the days. And then a book that takes place not in our time period is Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving, and like I said, I don't know if I'm going to do the other short stories in it, but I'm going to at least read The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Then a book with a spooky word in the title is Zombie by Darren Shan, and Zombie Baby. This is book 5 in the zombie series. And book with pictures is The Walking Dead Volume 1, Days Gone By. So, and that's by Kirkman and Tony Moore, but I can't see who it's by. Oh, there we go. Robert Kirkman, Tony Moore, and Cliff Rathburn. So that's what I will be reading for this week. Let me know if you're doing Spookathon as well. And yeah, I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Have fun. Bye.